Hey, have you ever heard a real estate agent say they can't disclose the details of an offer on a property? I have, and recently it happened to me again while I was advocating for my buyer client. I didn't challenge the listing agent because it would have been absolutely unproductive and probably just turned into a standoff, which wouldn't have advanced my client's position at all. Instead, I just listened and knowing that I wasn't going to change her mind, but it got me to thinking. How many agents out there actually believe this myth? Spoiler alert, they're mistaken. And today we're going to set the record straight. I think there's a pretty common misconception among Oklahoma real estate agents about confidentiality. Many believe that when a buyer makes an offer, it's automatically confidential. But the reality, Oklahoma Real Estate Commission code and rules state clearly that offers are not inherently confidential unless there's a separate confidentiality agreement in place. Now, before we dive into that, let's talk about why this misconception exists in the first place. Some agents confuse confidentiality rules they hear from other states with Oklahoma's laws. Others mistakenly believe that keeping an offer private is part of being professional or neutral in negotiations, and some just default to not disclosing because they think it's the safest route. But the truth is, not disclosing when it could benefit a client isn't playing it safe. It could actually be a failure to advocate properly. Under Oklahoma law, agents have a duty to keep their client informed and use reasonable skill and care. That means if disclosing the price of an existing offer could help their client get a better deal, it's something they should seriously consider. Not doing so might even mean they're falling short of their responsibilities. Now let's talk ethics. The National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics, Article 1.7, states clearly that realtors must submit offers and counteroffers objectively and promptly. But here's the kicker. It doesn't say offers are confidential unless explicitly instructed by the seller. So if an agent doesn't even discuss with their seller client whether or not to disclose an offer, they might not be fully serving their client's best interests. This is where strategy comes into play. Let's say a seller gets an offer for $250,000 but wants $260,000. If that offer price is disclosed to another interested buyer, suddenly they might be willing to go higher just to beat that first offer. Who knows? That second buyer might have been willing to go up to $270,000 or even more. Here's another example. If a seller receives an offer with a weak financing contingency, they might use that information to attract a stronger buyer. Knowing how to handle these situations is what separates an average agent from a great one. Think of it this way. If I were selling your house, wouldn't you want me to use every legal, ethical, and strategic advantage available to attract the best possible offer? Absolutely. This is an important tool and your agent needs to know when and how to use it. Now here's something important. If an agent withholds information that could clearly benefit their client, they could be violating both Real Estate Commission rules and the NAR Code of Ethics. And those violations can have serious consequences, fines, disciplinary actions, or even risking their license. That's why it's critical your agent knows exactly what's allowed and what's not. The Oklahoma Real Estate Commission and the National Association of Realtors take client advocacy seriously, and these rules exist to make sure agents are truly representing their clients' best interests. If you're an agent watching this and you've been told to keep offers confidential by default, or you're just under the impression that confidentiality inherently exists, I encourage you to take another look at the actual rules. Also, talk to your broker or someone at the Real Estate Commission. They're happy to help us. When agents understand this, they're freer to serve their clients more effectively. And really, isn't that what we're hired to do? This illustrates why it's important to work with someone who understands how to use these tools the right way. One more thing. I know some people worry about their personal business being shared when they work with a real estate professional. Let me be clear. I practice at a high level of discretion with all my clients. If you're a buyer, your information stays between us unless you choose to share it. I respect privacy at the highest level. Now, for sellers, it's a little different. Since a for sale sign with my name on it is in their yard, it makes our relationship public. But confidentiality is something I take seriously no matter what side of the transaction you're on. If you're enjoying this content and want to stay informed about real estate myths, strategies, and expert insights, make sure to tap the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Bottom line, in Oklahoma, the terms in an offer are not automatically confidential. If this confidentiality is a concern, it's something that should be discussed up front when signing the listing agreement. As your agent, somebody who's done this day in and day out for more than 30 years, I commit to leveraging every legal and ethical tool available to serve your interests. If you're looking for an agent who knows the rules and how to use them to your advantage, we need to talk. Ever had an agent tell you offers are confidential? Drop a comment below or DM me. I'd love to hear your experience and set the record straight. And if you're an Oklahoma real estate licensee who disagrees or takes issue with this content, that's okay. Let's have a conversation offline. I know a lot, but I'll never claim to be right about everything. Just ask my wife.